27-inch 5K display, which is perfect for your Macs, but it's not made by Apple, and it costs significantly less. Let's have a look. What's good, guys? My name is Oleg Nikitin, you're watching No Limits On channel. So this is the G27P monitor by the Chinese company called Kaykan. For more than 7 years I've been working with the iMac 5K, and I've sold it about a year ago, and I got used to my 16-inch MacBook Pro as my main editing machine without an external display. But when I got this monitor for a test, I remembered that it is so nice to have this big of a screen with really nice PPI, so I cannot see the individual pixels even if I'm like that close to the monitor. So this is the 5K panel, 5120 by 2880, and it has exactly the same resolution as the Apple Studio Display or the LG Ultrafine, but it has a different panel itself, not exactly the same one, of course. The PPI is also identical, 218 PPI, and it means that you cannot see individual pixels even when you are super close to the monitor, so it makes it a Retina display. Why you need a 5K panel if you are using a Mac? It seems like the macOS has a perfect scaling in 1440p monitors or the 5K monitors, because the macOS itself scales it properly. So you have the ratio of the size of your image or different like folders and all that stuff and the text, the ratio to the pixelated image. So if you do have the 5K display or the 1440p display, the scaling is perfect as it was intended by the macOS creators, let me say. But if you have a 4K panel, you need to decide whether to make it larger, but you could see the pixels, the individual pixels, or you can make the image look smaller and the icons themselves look smaller, the folders, the text, and it's not always comfortable to read that small text, but you could not see the individual pixels. So it's like a trade-off that you have to decide which way to make. But if you have a 5K panel, this is the ultimate solution for macOS. And if you use Windows, the 5K is not really necessary, and it also works with the Windows or Linux. No problem, I mean this monitor, but for macOS, this one is a perfect solution, or the LG Ultrafine or the Apple Studio Display, so a 5K 27-inch monitor is a perfect one for the Mac. The cool thing is that the Kaykan monitor also has an app for adjusting the brightness with your macOS keys for the brightness, of course. So if your mouse is on this screen on the MacBook, you can adjust the brightness with the brightness keys on the MacBook, and then you move your cursor towards the Kaykan monitor, and with the same buttons you can adjust the brightness of this monitor in some pretty small increments. Also, it comes with this little remote control, and you can use it to enter the menu. The menu system itself is pretty simple and straightforward. You can dial in different settings. You can make it a black and white display for reading the text better. You can have a gaming mode on, and just pretty simple settings, pretty usual settings as you find in most of the monitors. And also you can adjust the brightness with this remote control as well. Do not lose this one, because adjusting the settings in the menu are only made with this little remote, so you can only have the power on or off button on the body of the monitor itself, and that's it. This is a 60 Hz panel, no 144 Hz or something else, the same as the Apple Studio Display or the LG Ultrafine 5K, and it's a working monitor, so you are not going to be playing a lot of games with it. If you are a gamer, you'd better look at a different model, but for me it's more than fine. And guys, I've been using my MacBook Pro with 120 Hz ProMotion technology back and forth with this monitor, and it's not really irritating me to have the 60 Hz on this Kaykan monitor. And what really made me happy is the brightness of this monitor. It says in the specs that it's a 600 nit display, but with the calibrator tool I was able to find out that it is more than 600, actually closer to 650 nits of brightness, and it is much brighter than my MacBook Pro with M1 Pro, which is 500. And the contrast ratio is 1200:1, but this display also has a glossy finish, not the matte finish, and I do prefer the glossy finish, to be honest. And with the glossy finish, it feels like a more contrasty display. And also, guys, keep in mind that this is not an OLED panel, it's not a mini LED like on my MacBook Pro 16, and the blacks are not that dark, and the overall illumination is not super even. I can see some brighter spots in the corners of the monitor, but it's not that irritating, and as you can see, you cannot even tell the difference, and it doesn't really make my work experience worse. On the MacBook Pro 16, I do have some issues with blooming. So when you have a really dark background and you move your cursor, something white on the screen, you can see the blooming effect, which irritates me a lot. And I hope that MacBooks will have an OLED technology in the next generation. But as far as this monitor goes, it's more than fine in terms of contrast levels and overall image quality. It is claimed to be a 10-bit panel, but of course it's an 8-bit plus FRC technology, and it's more than fine to me because with the calibrator I was able to find really good numbers in terms of color accuracy. But guys, straight out of the box, the colors of this monitor were a bit off. It was too contrasty and too saturated to my taste, so I have calibrated it with the Spider Checker, and the results really made me happy. It was color accurate and pretty much exactly the same as my MacBook Pro 16-inch screen in terms of colors and contrast. And guys, here are the results after the calibration. So here we have 100% of coverage of sRGB, 88% of NTSC, 90% of Adobe RGB, and then 99% of P3, which is the most important, at least to me. So you can definitely color grade your photos and also videos with this monitor, no doubt about it. And the Delta E number is only 0.1%, which is amazing. So the glossy finish, is it irritating me? Not really, because all my life I've been using the glossy finish screens like 21-inch iMac, 27-inch iMac, MacBook Pro 13, MacBook Pro 16, so all the glossy finish monitors. And when I do use the matte finish monitors for review or something else, I'm really irritated by the lower numbers of contrast. So I do have complaints about the contrast levels with the matte displays, and if I need to, I can always, adjust the curtains, so the glossy screen is not an issue for me, and the image looks much better, more contrasty, more sharp with the glossy screen for sure. The viewing angles are about 178 degrees, but when you look at extreme angle, it can get a little magenta on the side of this monitor. So I do suggest you using this monitor straight in front of your eyes as it's supposed to be. And guys, now let's talk about the ports. So the main port is the USB Type-C with the 100-watt power delivery cable, DisplayPort alternative mode, so you can feed the video signal through it, 5K signal of course. It also has the HDMI 2.1, so the latest and greatest, and also the DisplayPort 1.4 and two USB Type-Cs, 2.0 and two USBs Type-A. So you can add something like a keyboard and a mouse or the audio card through those ports, so if you don't need super fast speeds. And it also has the headphone jack on the side. And the power brick is also built into this system, so no extra power bricks laying around, only one single pretty thin cable, which is great. Love it. And there are two models of the KaiCon monitors, 27P, which is this one, and the 27X. What's the difference? 27P is an older model and it's much thicker than this one. Also, the 27X had the HDMI 2.0, whereas this one has HDMI 2.1, so you can feed the 5K signal to this monitor. And also the 27P, this one does have two additional USB Type-A ports with USB 2.0 inside. The latency is also pretty fine, it's around 130 milliseconds from the keyboard to the display itself in the regular mode, and in the gaming mode it's less than 50 milliseconds from the keyboard to the display. So it doesn't affect your job, your work, your workflow whatsoever. The kit itself is also pretty rich, so you have the USB Type-C super fast cable, almost a Thunderbolt cable, let me think, and also you get the HDMI, the DisplayPort, a lot of different accessories. So the kit is also really nice, and you can pick which stand you prefer with the adjustability or without the adjustability. So you can pick whatever you want to. The adjustable stand is of course a bit pricier, but you can also pick the VESA mount or the stand without adjustability. It depends on you. I would pick the adjustable stand because it's that easy to actually move it like so. And it goes a bit harder downwards, but still it's a nice addition. And you can rotate this monitor 360 degrees in whichever position. You can tilt it down, you can tilt it up. So really versatile monitor for all kinds of needs, vertical position, whatever. And also guys, you can pick a plain back of this monitor if it's against the wall all the time, or you can pick the one which is like the Mac Pro, the cheese grater style, and it's really well made, to be honest, and not really that super, Chinese style. Really well made, really well built, and all in all, it's the quality, the materials, the stability of the stand. It's really nice. Actually, Apple-like quality, to be honest. And finally, guys, my user experience after 3 weeks of using this KaiCon monitor. So I'm really happy, and it really feels like an iMac 27-inch, but a bit brighter. The image quality is exactly like I remember the iMac 27-inch, and I guess it's almost exactly the same as the Apple Studio Display, but for a much cheaper price. So this monitor in the US, I will find a link. It's the only shop that sells those monitors right there. And I'm in Russia, obviously, so this monitor came to me from KaiCon Russia, so official representatives of this company in my country. And this is around $1,000. And it is much cheaper than the Apple Studio Display because you can pay extra for the stand of the Apple Studio Display, for the nano coating, etc, etc. And it's more or less comparable to the LG Ultrafine monitor in the plastic case, which is also pretty old, to be honest, and you can find the used LG Ultrafine for cheaper, of course, but I would pick any day, anytime the KaiCon monitor over the LG Ultrafine because the LG is super wobbly and it's pretty old as well. So I do vote with my own money for the KaiCon. I did buy it with my own money as well. So I can highly recommend it because it's easy to use, the super nice image quality, especially after calibrating. The brightness is nice. You can also charge your laptop with one cable, and I also bought the Anker Thunderbolt hub, so I can plug in all of my SSDs, the monitor, the printer, I don't know, the audio card, etc. to my computer with one single cable, and it's just a pleasure to use it, to be honest. And don't forget, guys, that you buy one good monitor and it will live for like 5, 10, maybe 15 years with different computers. So I bought this one because I want to change my MacBooks or my, I don't know, laptops, Mac Studios, whatever, and to be able to use this monitor with all of them. And it's a single purchase and it works for a really long time. I hope it will work, and maybe I'll do a 1 year or 2 year review in a few years. So if you have any questions, guys, please feel free to ask them down below. If you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell as well. And here is a playlist of different monitor reviews I made throughout my YouTube career, so you're welcome to watch those next. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.